longest weeks because, hey, who dis? Bishu. Yes, welcome to NA Contenders. Thank you for gracing our screens with your presence. Gladiators Legion's Pride winner has moved on up, has graduated into Owl proper. Yep. So
got some stage time too.
Exactly, very exciting things. And so filling in this off-tank role will now be Bishu of the LA Gladiators fame. He hasn't had a chance yet to participate with his team on screen in the recent weeks, but he will now be leading the charge for Legion in this matchup. So already here running that classic ghost composition.
What a welcome. First time in a Contenders game, getting first blood, gonna start it off there. 5-5 for both of these teams now. In fact, there's actually gonna get a return kill onto Buddy, but this isn't over. Bishu getting to Necta is gonna make things a little bit more complicated for them. Mayhem Academy definitely have the advantage for Gladiators Legion for the first capture.
Yeah, 6 members alive from Mayhem Academy. That's gonna be a big advantage. And a lot of damage dealers as well as Magnitude hunting down Dalton. There's only a sliver of health left for this Zarya, but that's all he needs apparently.
Jack's using the Widow's Kiss the old-fashioned way. That left foot gets that finalized kill on the Zarya, but still going back and forth. Mayhem Academy were able to grab the point, but it seems like if you grab the point, you're losing your fight so far in this round, because Gladiators can actually have that numbers advantage once again, and Jack going down is going to be the potential end for Mayhem Academy's hold on this objective. Gladiators Legion are going to take it right back.
Yeah, Mayhem Academy running a very DPS heavy comp with backfiction on the Hammond means that you have a lot of damage, you don't have a lot of point presence. So even though, there were trades back and forth, is absolutely worth it for Mayhem to continue to try and push that fight since they're going for those picks, and they get another one in a row. Legion now have to play this very cautiously.
Oh, but Baker forces out the Transcendence from X, so that one's going to be way early instead of late. That's, moving in the right direction for X. Mayhem Academy, though, still, I'm poking a little bit too fun as that Transcendence did save him and the team. Mayhem Academy do flip that point once again. This has been a fight each way so far.
And the point percentage is even to show that. Gladiators Legion now, they just... All right, okay, Shax. We know you're all very, very good at the hit scan and demonstrating it now. This is the difficult part. Gladiators Legion are going to take so much damage just trying to engage on the point. Mayhem Academy, they're all very squirrely, so mobile. Legion's Death Ball has to get on top of one of these damage dealers and hold them there long enough to kill them. But that's a lot easier said than done. Dalton, though, will have this grab online, but can he catch more than a couple of the members of Mayhem?
Water going to be using that rally to get them onto the objective, but they're not even going to get close to goes down before the primal raid comes out. And look at Mayhem Academy, they're so well prepared for this push and potentially the next one, even though Gladiators Legion have some more for this push.
Yeah, Gladiators Legion tried to go through those back rooms, but that was just a telegraphed play. All of Mayhem Academy scooted out of the way to allow for the justice to reign.
So what we're really seeing here is the point presence not really being that much of an issue for Mayhem Academy. Gladiators Legion coming in, they're trying to get to the objective proper. Here's the stat, because they know that the Mayhem Academy isn't going to be as strong.
Exactly, and they're also not going to be very strong in a tiny room versus all the rockets. Primal Rage force very early. Tanker trying to make a little bit of space.
Yeah, Wolf has to use the coalescence to keep a lot of Gladiators Legion alive during this situation. Mayhem Academy also knows exactly where everyone was. The infrared sights were available. Look at how good Magnitude is at flying. Stays below the environment to keep himself safe. He's going to go ahead and jump up because he's isolated that Genji potential to take him down. The Gladiators getting that first 2 picks could mean that they keep the point. The Mayhem Academy have made this little interesting taking Evie out of this fight. Luddy also very well. In fact, he's getting 2 kills in this fight. So Mayhem Academy not out of this just yet.
No, Gladiators Legion though snuck the point out from underneath Mayhem in the meantime, and a grab out, a solo grab just on the back. So that's pretty flattering. Less flattering are some rockets right to your dome. As everybody from Mayhem Academy dropping their ultimates, trying to catch this point after.
Yeah, and they're finally finding themselves on a fight on the objective proper. The Mayhem Academy has yet to flip it. Even though Gladiators Legion hasn't been in an advantageous position throughout the last 30 seconds or so. They've had the really wonderful salts from them, and Dalton is on the Tracer, which is really awesome because on Oasis last week against UG University, he killed it on that character. So hopefully we can see a little bit more of that. He stays on this, even though it was a little bit of that desperation play as Paper does get the res off on it too. Sagada, Mayhem Academy still in control. They were able to flip the point during this fight. They cannot lose it out here to Gladiators Legion. They have to seal the deal. They're going to close in with just that.
Exactly. Bishu on the desperation cannon actually got hacked mid-flight. So Mayhem Academy, piece off the last couple of members of Gladiators Legion. Rocket straight to the dome again for Dalton. Well, me and Mayhem Academy take this 100-76.
Yeah, but hey, it was a good entrance for Bishi there, getting the first blood on the first Contenders game back on the team. And it's good to see that, but unfortunately for him, the rest of the team, even though it was back and forth, this was very, very easy. Like, they were unable to really take Mayhem Academy off of that pedestal once they had that advantage at around 40% of their own fate.
Exactly. Mayhem Academy, you know, showing some respect to Bishu, definitely. You could see them solo him out, trying to take him out of mech, and that just goes to show, you know, kind of the experience and that leadership that he brings from Overwatch League now into the Gladiators Legion team. And of course, the Diva, one of the few heroes that can fly up into the face of Mangachu and frustrate that Pharah. So all around, some really good target prioritization for Mayhem Academy, who now roll out with yet another one of Mangachu's favorite heroes, the May.
Mangachu can play literally anything, I think, at a professional level at this point. Still, nothing will be as good as his Torbjorn. Mayhem Academy, though, Mangachu is getting low, but he's going to get that first pick. Ice pick, get it. 65 now for Mayhem Academy. Mangachu getting another kill. This is going to be an easy point capture for them. What does Gladiators Legion got to do when they come in?
Gladiators Legion, you gotta pick a target, focus them down very quickly, regardless of who it is. Of course, Backfiction, who had a hard time finding his footing last season, has really been ramping it up in this run. Mayhem Academy's, you know, score line has that, proves that. So he gets a lot of support from his team. The Reinhardt may not actually be the best target for Mayhem Academy. If they could get onto Shax, of course, get that very early out of the fight, but instead they're gonna try to match May today.
Yeah, so he has a lot of time to catch up. Well, he used a lot of time to catch up as Mangachu has destroyed a lot of Gladiators Legion with this May. You're going to get some perpendicular walls there. Just a little bit more interesting. Earthshatter goes down. A lot of Mayhem Academy are on the ground. Mangachu might go down before being able to use that Blizzard. But actually, Backfiction and Manitin are going to come right back. The attempted wall to block Backfiction away from the rest of his team is not really going to do anything for them. Mayhem Academy still own that point. They have grab. They have Blizzard.
It's going to be an uphill climb. Undoubtedly, Shatter gets shut down. Backfiction with a very opportunistic ultimate means that Manitin now not going to get the benefit of any of that static shielding. Goes down to Bishu, who now is up towards 50% to that ultimate, but Mangachu already has that in hand. Gladiators Legion need to clean up all the remaining members of Mayhem Academy, and they're actually going to do it in pretty quick fashion.
By all means, move at a glacial pace, Bishu. You got to get to that ultimate, even though you do have the point right now. The Blizzard is on the other side. Maybe you're able to get it before Mangachu's going to use that Blizzard. I feel like Blizzard's also one of those ults that teams hold on for so long, and then when they actually do use it, absolutely nothing happens. And so Mayhem Academy going to use that wall. They're going to get that wall coming through. Not in the exact right places they needed, and Manitin going to go ahead and use those ultimates. It ended up being a little bit of an overinvestment because Gladiators Legion unfortunately didn't help themselves with using the wall.
No, they didn't get anywhere close to Mayhem Academy's point percentage either, although Mangachu out, but unfortunately with the way its spawns are and his apparent man advantage, Gladiators Legion will now have to fight this size 5 without the Zenyatta. Sound barrier already popped from Mayhem Academy. They want to keep it coming out.
Yeah, they're going to use that as a defensive barrier. Instead, Gladiators Legion going to use their Blizzard to get that running out very shortly. The fact is, you're going to make sure no one can follow up that Blizzard because everyone's taking a dirt nap because of that Earthshatter. Mayhem Academy staying strong on this point. It has been very close since the very beginning of the last round.
No, indeed. You can tell that Mayhem Academy extremely experienced and comfortable playing with this May. Legion themselves now going to try and give the Hammond the Wrecking Ball a go at it. We've seen Wrecking Balls come in clutch in the past. Unfortunately, not going to happen this time around.
Yeah, so Mayhem Academy playing very cleanly at the very end there, and I believe Control is Gladiators Legion's like absolute worst map. I think they've got like a 20% win percentage, but a 100% win percentage on Hybrid. And so, you know, this loss might be something that they have maybe expected. Hopefully this doesn't go to a Game 5 for them, but now that we're going to be going into our next map type, we can expect Gladiators Legion to maybe come back with a little bit more moxie, a little bit more confidence. But speaking of that, you just lost Fried, who, you know, was awesome all throughout Contenders, even when he was on second win last season.
Another great second win bump,
exactly.
right?
And so he's now on the Owl stage, and now we're going to get Bishu instead. So can you walk us through exactly what the give and take of that change is?
So anytime you're going to be adding, you know, a new player in the role of off-tank, right? So off-tank, what does that exactly mean? You have to kind of ride that line between aggression and defense, right? So you have a lot of great aggressive abilities. You have the boosters to reposition and the defense matrix to go in very aggressively and not take any damage from those projectiles. But also, all of those abilities could be used defensively too, whether to save your tanks, whether to save your backline and provide some peel. So, you know, a lot of teams have come up with this kind of rhythm with their off-tank, you know, getting used to kind of how they see this role and where they're generally going to be at any given point in that fight. Because if you turn around and you're like, I really need some peels, and your diva's off in like the next zip code, right, you're not going to get it.
Based off of play style.
Right, exactly.
Right?
It's just based off of play style. So it is, you know, kind of understandable that Gladiators Legion maybe, you know, struggling a little bit on control. The very first map that they've played, you know, with Bishu. So I think as, you know, the series goes on and they just get a little bit more used to his rhythm and he to them, then things should start gelling a little bit better.
Well, let's talk about exactly what Bishu adds, right? Because you just talked about what happens when Frida's gone, right? So let's talk about what happens when Bishu is here. And the number one thing is that leadership and experience that comes to mind.
Yeah, we don't know exactly who's going to be calling a lot of those shots in these Legion games, but, you know, hey, you have a guy who's seen a lot of what the world of professional Overwatch has to offer, and his name is Bishu. And of course, you also can't discount the fact that he speaks both almost perfect Korean and almost perfect English. So he can kind of
not quite perfect
at
either.
I don't
almost,
know if anybody can really speak perfect English. I mean, we do it for a living, and you know. But yeah, so that communication aspect, especially with Panker, their main tank, who is Korean, right? So you can kind of bridge that gap a little bit easier. We know that was, and Water as well, and we know that was a role that he fit in very well for the LA Gladiators back in Season 1 of the Overwatch League. So we could be, hopefully Legion will be relying a little bit more on him to do that as well.
All right, let's see what we're going to see on Kings Row. Remember, Gladiators Legion have an amazing record on Hybrid this season. Let's see if that history will repeat itself. Mayhem Academy, though, trying really hard to stop that. As, you know, I think on paper this game, we've already seen 10 games, our first two series going the distance. We might see 15 this time around. Mayhem Academy, though, you know, at least the other thing with Bishu, though, is that they're coming in. You could not have scouted anything for Second Wind, right? They know how Bishu plays, right? Bishu has, you know, a certain type of play style that he got really good at when he was in Overwatch League. And now that he's here, you can almost expect the same thing, but it's also time to try out new things. I'm so excited to see Bishu here. Like, it's just, it makes me personally really excited as he's an awesome dude. Mayhem Academy now going to be coming up on this defense on the GOATS composition. Gladiators Legion going to be matching this time around, so let's see what this GOATS v GOATS brings us here on Kings Row.
Yeah, first ultimate charge will be very important as it's a mirror composition. Oh, Bishu gets stunned though immediately to mech, but it's traded back across the way. Manitin also out of this fight, so this will favor the Legion who are attacking first. They can continue to push this pressure. Mayhem Academy aren't going to get those respawns nearly as fast as their attackers.
All Gladiators Legion need to do is play that patient game that they're so good at playing. They're so good at it. Sometimes it gets them into trouble. The Panker's going to have that Earthshatter at the ready. He's going to use it on cooldown. Grab 3 of them, knowing that Fact Fiction was not in a position to stop it. Now Gladiators Legion is going to come back and attack this point with reckless abandon. Gladiators Legion will be taking this first point very quickly.
Oh, we've been treated to a lot of marauding Reinhardts all day long. I just, oh man, I just love watching that guy play. I have Frill as well. So, you know, Panker, actually though, when we talk about, you know, crazy Rhines going for those flanking shatters, he was known for some of that play when he was playing in Korea during Apex. But so far in his stint here in NA Contenders, we haven't really seen as much of that, you know, liveliness, you know, throwing caution to the winds kind of play. But now that we have a new off-tank in the mix and just given that last fight, hey, you know, just let your freak flag fly, Panker.
It's the Mayhem Academy not going to let that freak flag fly. They're going to let it go to half-mast at the most. Gladiators Legion, though, still in this fight. Transcendence coming out of Epps. Wolf still has his. Earthshatter going to be going down onto Mayhem Academy. Fact Fiction and Negachu saved by that sound barrier. And now it's just going to be a brawl that Fact is going to find first blood in. Gladiators Legion going to invest that trance very, very late as well. Had the trance available to save Panker. Bishu's going to go ahead and use that self-destruct in the back line, but I think the payload is actually blocked most of the field of view from that self-destruct. Mayhem Academy going to come out on top here. Very interesting use of ults, honestly, from both sides, but more so Gladiators Legion.
Yeah, they could have just backed off and gone for that reset, but instead Rolf popped the trance when they lost Panker trying to keep that momentum going, but that simply meant that Shaxx had a free grab. And Maniton's bomb on top did manage to catch the Zenyatta, but, you know, kind of was a little bit extraneous. They still can hold here, a rally at the ready, and Epps is very close, so, oh.
What a comedy of a grab right there, and it's going to work. Gladiators is going to get that first blood, but there's a trade on the other side, so this is a 5v5 that Mayhem Academy is going to keep winning. Fact-Fiction doesn't even need the Earthshatter to do it. Panker invests his. So Gladiators Legion, they don't even know what stars are out. They can't even see the constellations of King's Row. They can't leave spawn.
No, it's been quite a while since Gladiators Legion have tasted that sunlight or, you know, starlight, as it were. Oh no, that's actually a bad stagger, though. Legion now have a man advantage, and you can see Fact-Fiction giving up all of that space. They were hoping that Legion would be forced to use ultimates to leave spawn, and they certainly bit off a bit more than they could chew in this case.
And look at where Gladiators Legion are, getting a taste, you know, giving Mayhem Academy a taste of their own medicine, but they do have to make it back onto the payload. It's not moving incredibly fast because only one person's on it, so Gladiators Legion are going to have to, you know, defend another engagement from Mayhem Academy. It's how they're going to work with this payload that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, and this high ground, too, because you see already Dalton shelling down on the heads of Mayhem Academy. He knows exactly how they're going to try and engage in this next fight. Grab bomb combo available for both sides, but Mayhem Academy are the only ones holding on to this sound barrier.
Jinx Yomi a code, grabs going both ways. Jack's gonna get that first kill though. Bigger bang combos both ways as well. The same story, Mayhem Academy, the only one finding value out of their ultimates. Gladiators Legion having a hard time getting anything going after that really quick point A take.
You actually had a great metaphor the other day, Boop, about the full court push in basketball, right? So it's about full court press.
Yeah.
Okay, so Legion, right? They want to press or push, I say. Mayhem Academy, when they have that advantage, and they certainly did so after they burst out of spawn, but in their next full 6v6 engagement, Legion had a really hard time finding where that line was. How much of an investment is too much of an investment, right? They come out of that fight bruised, bloodied, certainly. They only have the trance and maybe a rally online for this next one, while Mayhem Academy holding on to 3 ultimates of their own. And Fact-Fiction with this shatter, you can tell that he's just chopping at the bit right now.
Yeah, he is ready. That ring finger is over Q right now. And so Gladiators Legion know that it might be coming. Fact-Fiction going to actually charge into the back line. And I think this was unintentional, but gets a huge shatter onto Gladiators Legion because he missed a charge. Gladiators Legion, they're going to survive. They layered the rally over with the Transcendence, but now they're not going to have any of it. Mayhem Academy through that attrition war, no more ults, and look at this Fact-Fiction already at another shatter.
Only 2 seconds stands between him and yet another earth-pounding ultimate. That wasn't a mischarge, that was a tactical reposition, all right? Talk about, you know, making good with a bad hand. He misses the charge, still turns around, 180 shatters all of Legion, who were absolutely not expecting it. And for a team who got point A in their very first push, they are now certainly struggling against the tide. No ultimates online. The closest will be the sound barrier and Dalton's grab, but we've seen Legion with these tools in hand before, unable to really make anything of it. So Mayhem Academy now, they have all the time in the world. Opens with the shatter, and it's big.
3 go down onto the ground. Mayhem Academy in complete control of street space, but at least for Gladiators Legion, they all died very quickly. And so 35 seconds left is enough for one push, but now Mayhem Academy, you can tell they're kind of debating. Do I hold up close or do we hold up the payload?
Yeah, we have a trance. Do we want to use it? Do we want to use this? Like, this would be really funny if we could just keep Legion in their spawn again, but no. The more conservative hand prevails, and Mayhem Academy will be backing off, at least behind Bookstore, you know, just close to that cart. You don't want a sneaky back cap kind of situation either. Gladiators Legion gear up for their very last fight. Dalton's grab will be the linchpin. It cannot get eaten up. Maniton, is he hungry?
They can actually cede even more space to get themselves in better defensible position right before the point. That's exactly what Mayhem Academy are doing. The sound barrier is going to be used to keep Gladiators Legion on the payload. It will be countered on the other side with the same sound barrier. 2-member stun from Mayhem Academy because of Panker's Earth Shatter, but no kills just yet from either side. Mayhem Academy are going to be able to use their grab, and it's going to be countered the other way. Transcendence now from both Zenyatta's, Bishu, and Maniton both getting Lucio's. This is almost like the definition of that mirror matchup, right? Exactly the same things happening on both sides, but finally Maniton does find another kill. In fact, Fiction, who is developing these Earth Shatters faster than I've seen in a very, very long time here in North American Contenders, gonna help Mayhem Academy stop Gladiators Legion here on Street Space. Mayhem Academy did something really smart. Even though they're giving them a little bit more distance, they decided not to lose a fight in the middle of streets, bring that fight to a much easier defensible position, and that ended up paying off.
That's a really good point, Boop. Streets phase, very long, very winding. If you end up around that bookstore area, the spawns are equidistant. But the further you bring it towards point B, the better those spawns will favor the defense, Mayhem Academy. So another just unlucky point. Legion have not been able to follow up on any of those big potential fight-ending ultimates. You mentioned Panker's Earthshatter, no follow-through, some of those grabs, not a ton of follow-through, or, you know, very easily countered by Mayhem's Trance. It's what followed afterwards. You saw those bombs come through, each get a Lucio apiece, but then Manitin swoops in, manages to get a micro-missile kill onto another member of Legion, and while Panker's hiding in the corner, he has to save his shield. Fact Fiction takes that opportunity, shatters the entirety of his team, and, you know, that's no fault of Panker, you know, on his own, right? Who knows? If he had waited just a little bit longer, maybe he would have gotten his own shatter. As Mayhem Academy trickle onto the cart, he gets a 3-1. So it's kind of, you know, really up to these tiny moments and these tiny decisions.
So I actually think you laid it on something. You just said Panker, not really even his fault. I actually think that the whole thing about Gladiators Legion, they've actually not been playing, like, poorly, right? I just think Mayhem Academy might be playing some of their cleanest Overwatch so far this season. And, like, when you're seeing someone at their peak like that, it'll be much harder to compete when you're kind of working a new person in the system. But Gladiators Legion were unable to finish King's Row, which is actually pretty nutty for them. Mayhem Academy now, they've got a pretty easy, you know, on the paper, right, an easy way to potentially go up to 0 at halftime, but anything can happen in these fights. We might even see a point A hold for Gladiators Legion. Let's see if that's going to be the future that we're going to be living in. We have to get there first. Mayhem Academy going to be on the attack with their Goats comp. Gladiators Legion going to be doing the same thing. Let's see which one will win that battle of patience, that rehearsal, that piece of music. Manitin is going to start with a really great opening, and Gladiators Legion is going to have to tacit the rest of the way. Got to be really, really quiet.
I mean, maybe it's a tacit, maybe it's a cadenza. Who knows? Gladiators Legion could potentially take this Streets phase in an entirely different direction, really show their artistry, but it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a difficult task, right?
Yeah.
Epps, this guy, we've, you know, talked a lot about his Zenyatta timing in the past, at moments certainly suspects and late trances, but really showing up in the kill feed right there, able to be that backline fragger that Mayhem Academy really needed to give themselves the best opportunity to finish out Streets phase, and with that, go up 2-0. Gladiators Legion right now, you know, still in the general area of an Earthshatter, but there's no prize for most improved. Mayhem Academy already have that ultimate, plus more are on tap.
This honestly might be, like, again, some of the best Overwatch Mayhem Academy has played so far in Contenders. Earthshatter is going to go through from Fact Fiction. They're already going to get the kill onto Water. Gladiators Legion, you know, the Transcendence might just be delaying the inevitable for them. The Graviton Surge, they really want to stay in this fight, but seeing that there is no Transcendence on the other side after Mayhem Academy uses that Graviton Surge, this is a fight win for Mayhem Academy, who I've been having a hard time identifying the stakes so far here on King's Row.
No, and Mayhem Academy in the past, they certainly had, you know, some work to do in the back line, and now that that's been shored up, they add Mangachu, who's an absolute beast on this Brigitte, setting up all of those great shatters for Fact Fiction. In Mayhem Academy, it's very difficult to find a weakness here. Gladiators Legion now, since Bishu used that self-destruct to try and keep the team alive during that grab, he's not going to have it online. They pop the rally.
Sound barrier going to be there for Mayhem Academy, and no one is on the point. No self-destructs. Gladiators Legion, how could you?
Legion, we believed.
Yes. Oh, no. Anticlimactic ending for sure, but Mayhem Academy should be very, very proud of the subs. I'm going to say it. I think at this point, any team against Mayhem Academy in this situation would be losing. I think Mayhem Academy is playing super well, and I'm honestly going to say that all the way up to potentially even Envy, right? It's just, if both teams were playing at that level right now, we'd be, you know, it'd be a little bit closer, but it's hard for me to fault what Gladiators Legion's doing right now, because Mayhem Academy playing incredibly well.
Yeah, you don't see spawn camps like that. You get the enemy team to grab you, and you still come out of it alive somehow, right? Not only that, but then you win the subsequent fight, right?
It was a cheeky grab.
It was a cheeky grab.
Yeah, they were being a little bit too fancy on their feet, right? But
I mean, in this case, right, though, you have to make some kind of opening. If you continue to play at the pace that you have been through Lijiang Tower, through most of King's Row, then you know, Mayhem Academy just sitting back, eating popcorn, right?
Yeah, and you know, something that we were actually talking about before this game, we were like, what is the thing that's keeping Gladiators Legion back from being this amazing team, right? I don't know if we still have yet identified that problem, right, or that problem area, but one of the things that we did notice through that, we're not saying it's the answer to this question, is they can play too patient sometimes. And so a really good example of this was when they faced Fusion Uni in that 5-game set. They kind of let other teams come in and set themselves up. Right, because Gladiators Legion likes that setup time as well, but giving them that extra time, while can be advantageous for you as well, you're giving up a little bit of, you know, opportunity, not letting them get set.
Exactly. There are definitely moments where even in that Kings Row game, you're like, Legion, just push forward. Like, you can keep pushing, right? And since the team does really respect the rules of engagement, I would say at this point we can say that about the Legion. You know, they haven't gotten used to how far can we take this before we get, you know, dumped on ourselves, which we saw a little bit of that on Kings Row, pushing so far ahead and then we nearly losing your Lucio, right? But yeah, I think especially in those, you know, fight or die kind of moments, it's like, hey, we don't actually have a ton of time to finish out Streets Phase. Like, we just got spawn camped, right? Like, maybe it's going to be a better look to just change the tempo, right? Take Mayhem out of system. They're expecting us to play laid back. They've watched all of our tape, right? But we could surprise them just by going a little bit more aggressively. As you know, the team continues to gel, and especially as they, you know, integrate Bishu in during this series, hopefully we can see a little bit more of that.
Well, let's see if it's going to be consistent for Mayhem Academy to come back after this halftime break with the same kind of moxie that they brought to the first half. But first, we got to wait 6 minutes to get there. We'll see you soon.